Welcome to our explainer. Today, we're diving into two connected marvels: the incredible biological camera you carry with you every day, your eye, and the amazing physics of light that paints the entire world it sees.
You know that super high-tech camera you use every single second of the day? Yep, I'm talking about your eyes. They capture the world in stunning, vivid detail. But how does this little piece of biological machinery actually work? How does it turn light into the images we see in our minds?
And what about this? How does that exact same eye take in something as breathtaking as a sunset and process all those colors? It's a fascinating story that connects the tiny cells inside your head to the vastness of our planet's atmosphere. Okay, let's get into it. All right, so to really understand the big picture, we've got to start small. Let's follow just a single ray of light on its journey as it enters your own personal camera and see exactly how it all comes together. Okay, I know this looks a little complicated, but don't worry. Just think of it like a blueprint for our journey. Like any high-tech camera, every single part you see here has a critical job to do. We're going to trace the path of light through it, one piece at a time. First stop, the cornea. This is the powerhouse of the eye's lens system. It's this clear, protective dome right on the very front. And get this, it does about 80% of the heavy lifting when it comes to bending and focusing the light. Next, the light has to pass through the pupil, which is really just a hole. The colored part, the iris, that's what acts like the aperture on a camera. It automatically expands or contracts, changing the size of the pupil to control exactly how much light gets inside. It's brilliant. After the pupil, the light hits the crystalline lens. Now, this is the real magic. This is the autofocus system. You've got these tiny muscles that are constantly squeezing and relaxing this flexible lens, changing its shape to give you that tack-sharp focus, whether you're looking at your phone or a mountain way off in the distance. It actually projects a real but totally upside-down image. So where does that upside-down image end up? Right here on the retina. This is basically the movie screen at the back of your eye. It's jam-packed with millions of tiny, light-sensitive cells called rods and cones that act like the pixels in a digital camera. Their job is to turn all that light into electrical signals that your brain can finally understand. But just like any camera, sometimes things can be a little out of focus. What happens when the mechanics are just a tiny bit off? Well, you get some really common vision problems. Let's take a look at how those work. So, if you have myopia, what most of us call nearsightedness, it means you can see things up close just fine, but distant objects are a blur. As this diagram shows, it's often because the eyeball is just a little too long, causing the lens to focus the light in front of the retina, not directly on it. So what's the fix? It's actually a pretty clever trick, using a concave lens. This kind of lens is shaped to spread the light out just a little bit before it even enters your eye. And that subtle change is all it takes. It pushes that focal point backward, landing it perfectly on the retina for a sharp image. Now check this out. Our source material has this awesome little mnemonic to help you remember all those details. My oni makes eyeline thick, went cave. So, myopia is nearsightedness, caused by an elongated eyeball or a lens that's too thick, and you correct it with a concave lens. Pretty neat, right? All right, on the flip side, we have hypermetropia, or what most of us call farsightedness. Here, distant objects are clear, but things up close get blurry. This is the exact opposite problem. The eyeball is a bit too short, so the light isn't bent enough, and it tries to focus at a point behind the retina. And the fix is just as clever. To correct this, we just need a little more focusing power. So as you can see here, a convex lens does the trick. It bends the light rays more sharply, pulling that focal point forward so it lands perfectly on the retina. Okay, so we've totally mastered the mechanics of the eye. But what about the light itself? I mean, where do all the vibrant colors we see actually come from? Let's unlock the secret hidden inside a simple beam of white light. The whole secret to color comes down to this one really cool phenomenon in physics called dispersion. It's what happens when white light gets split apart into all the colors it's made of, simply by passing through something like a piece of glass or even a drop of water. You've probably seen this before, right? Isaac Newton's famous experiment showed this perfectly. He passed a single beam of sunlight through a glass prism, and bam, out came a full rainbow. So here's the crucial point. The prism isn't creating the colors, it's just separating the whole spectrum that was already hiding inside that white light all along. Now let's take that same principle of light bending and splitting and apply it on a planetary scale. This same physics explains the incredible light shows we get to see in our atmosphere every single day, just by looking up. Ever wonder why stars twinkle but planets don't? It's all about our atmosphere. Stars are so incredibly far away, they're like single points of light. As their tiny light path travels through all the turbulence in our air, it gets constantly bent, making it seem to flicker. Planets, though, are much closer, so they appear as tiny disks. The light from all those different points gets averaged out, which cancels that twinkling effect. So, we've seen how our atmosphere bends light, but that's not the only thing it does. There's one more crucial process that explains the answer to that age-old question, why is the sky blue? And that final process is called scattering. Imagine sunlight as a stream of tiny energy packets. When these packets hit tiny particles, like the molecules of nitrogen and oxygen in our air, they get bounced off in all different directions. They get scattered. But here's the secret. Not all colors scatter equally. The tiny molecules in our air are the perfect size to scatter light with short wavelengths. In the visible spectrum, that means blue and violet light. So as sunlight streams into our atmosphere, the blue light gets scattered everywhere, filling the sky from every direction. But what about sunrise and sunset? Well, at those times, the sunlight has to travel through a much thicker slice of the atmosphere to reach your eyes. By the time it gets to you, most of that blue light has already been scattered away, leaving behind the longer wavelengths, the beautiful reds, oranges, and yellows. So from the intricate dance of muscles in your eye to the scattering of light across thousands of miles of atmosphere, it's all one interconnected story. The physics of the world creates the light, and the biology in your head creates the vision. Now that you know the secret is half in the sky and half in your eye, what will you see differently?